Clarity doesn't come from thinking about it. It comes from showing up, especially on the days when you really don't feel like it. Let's talk more about that. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 39 books and counting. I've had the wonderful privilege of working with nearly 5,000 people, helping them anywhere in the process, from writing to publishing to marketing their books to bestseller and everything that goes beyond. We have an incredible 100% success at making your book a bestseller. If your book isn't a bestseller yet, absolutely, let's talk. We need to make your bestseller today. I can tell you, after 40 years of marketing experience, that there is nothing like the phrase bestseller and best-selling author to be able to up-level all that you do. And that, unfortunately, is something that a lot of people may talk about doing, but the problem that they have with it is they skip the first step. That thing that we're always talking about, and that is clarity. It's when we have the clarity, when we really truly know who we are, what we're doing, why, and then, absolutely, who is that for? Who does that, that message, that clarity, that real, passionate, purposeful us, who does that serve? We need to know that. We need to know it really clearly, concisely, powerfully, completely, in order to be able to be the us that we're meant to be in this world. You see, you could spend the rest of forever thinking about working with any one of a number of AI programs and creating things behind the scenes. You could spend the rest of forever talking in your room to a mirror, to a teddy bear on your bed, whatever. But until we actually move from the planning, the thinking, all of that kind of stage to the actual doing stage, we don't really develop that clarity. We can go through, and I have an amazing GPT that I've created for you. I'd love to be able to help you run through it, and really determine what is that real, true, passionate purpose for you in this world. It's something you need to know. And we need it before we create our signature talk, before we write our book, especially before we, promote it to being a bestseller, because we need to know, who are we and why is that important to us? And what are the words that outline that? And then below that, who is that for? And how do we express everything that we could say down to something simple that can be a next step for that person we're meant to serve? But, until we stop practicing, until we stop thinking about it, until we stop, buying one more, AI app, they're coming out constantly, right? Till we stop all of that and we move into the space of actually moving forward, we can never turn the car. You may be going completely the wrong direction, but you have to start the car and getting moving in order to turn it around. You can't just leave it all bricked up, with the lock on the side of it, and sit in your car and talk about what moving feels like. Sure, you could do like they do in Hollywood, and you could have the scenery on a view screen moving past you, but you're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. You're not making any impact. It's about the power of showing up, especially when it's hard. And there are days, I was in the middle of a project, some stuff that I thought I had finished that I hadn't really, honestly. And I'm feeling a lot of that today. A lot of, oh my gosh, I feel really behind, kind of just feeling this today. Not in a bad way, not in a diminishing my energy level kind of a way, but just and then I need to do this, and then I need to do this. And so I've just been kind of, popping between different things, and then, things like having to have to run to the bathroom real quick and stuff like that, and it would be really easy on a day like today to not go live. Just, use the business as an excuse. Even better yet, a couple of days ago, I admitted to you, that my energy level was way off. Part of it had to do with the trip, part of it had to do with, some situations here at home, different things like that. And your energy level, you're not always on 10. You wouldn't want to always be on 10. You would burn out. And I know the old phrase is, it's better to burn out than to fade away. I understand that lyric from the song, but we need our highs and our lows. We need our days where we rest, where we spend the whole day up in the bed, just laying down, or, and it coming to you live right now, it's Sunday. Maybe you're into football and maybe you should spend the whole day on the couch or in your easy chair and just watch the football games all day today. That's okay. See, it's not diminishing and demeaning for you to have spending the best you that you can be today, maximizing today. It isn't a bad thing that the maximum best use for you today is for you to need a nap, for you to rest, for you to take care of yourself, for you to take medicine so that you're not sick or you don't get any sicker if you already are, to reconnect with friends and family, to have conversations with people. All of those are just as powerful. Okay. So I'm not talking about the power of showing up has to do with eliminating everything else, and you don't spend time with your spouse, and you don't spend time with your kids, and you don't, you don't communicate with your friends, and you're just type A personality, drive until you drop and you're in the hospital because you don't have balance in your life. I'm not at all talking about that. But I am talking about as we're being the best us that we can be today. There is a way to be able to be the best you and to show up every single day. Again, let's go to the example that I used of, say, for example, sitting around and watching football all day. Okay, it could be a great use for you. You really need to just recharge those engines. In between, in commercial times, or when you go out to the kitchen to get a snack or what have you, let your mind rest. That's a way of showing up for the people. And what you want to do at some point through the course of that day is let your people know. Say, hey, I'm going to be taking most of today, or I'm going to be taking all of today. You can do it in like 5 seconds. You pick up the phone and go, hey, everybody, here's my encouragement to you today. I'm going to take the whole day and I'm going to rest and spend time with family. I encourage you to do the same. You're massively powerful. It is powerful to show up that way. And if your people consistently see you, and you could even pre-plan things like that. You could be like, look, I know I'm going to be on a train like I was, almost 2 weeks ago now. Well, yeah, I guess basically it was only still just a week ago when I got back here. Wow. That's been a busy week, and I actually did go live from the train, but I could have pre-planned. I could have done something live, scheduled it all up, and had it queued on, Facebook or in one of the softwares that lets you queue up posts or things like that, and had it all ready to go. And it could have said, hey, I want you to know I'm not here live today, but I am showing up in your life. Today is a day that I'm on the train and I won't have internet signal. So I wanted to just come to you and encourage you. Maybe today's a day that you need to travel from where you were to where you're headed. You're not going to make the destination. Life is a continued journey, and there never is a final spot, because when you cross that finish line, you know what that means, right? You do know what that means, right? Let me know. Somebody send out a post or something if you don't know what I mean by that. Totally great way. The power of showing up, because see, connection. Your heart says, I want to connect with my people. How can I maximize today to connect with the people without being one of those out of balance wackos that doesn't spend time with friends, doesn't spend time with family, works 20. And I'm, as guilty or more guilty than most people. I'm in an interesting spot in my life right now. I have my mom and my brother that are, kind of roommates, but they just kind of basically sit and watch television all day. And that isn't really that appealing to me. And that's great. They're retired. They can live their life the way they want to. So I do tend to work 7 days a week. And I'm not necessarily encouraging you to do that, but I am encouraging you to think about what could I do for my people every single one of those days, and then pre-plan it. Have a plan for, second C, consistency, so that even on a day when you intentionally see, when we take off time by accident, that's really not life balance. That's just an accidental, maybe even a happy accident. Most of the time, though, what ends up happening is we don't end up fully there because we intended to do this, and then life hijacks us and makes us spend time with, this, that, or the other thing. Okay? We want to have it intentionally planned, that we be part of society, that we do the things, that we connect with our friends, that we send that message, that we do those kind of things on purpose. That's just as much a showing up as, picking up the phone and going, hey, how you doing today? Let me talk to you about. Yes, you could use the formal statutes where it's like, hi, my name is, what I do is, and here's what I'd like to talk to you about today. But really, most of you, what you need to do is just pick up the phone and go, hey, let's talk about, and just go for it. Right now, it's your ears that are mostly going to be what's going to be hearing what's coming out of your mouth. I've been asserting that before you can even start your 10,000 hours of being a noted expert in something, you need an additional 10,000 hours for you to recognize that you already are an expert. Now, what really that means is that by the time you recognize it, you're already actually there, and you've already put in all the work. But the truth of the matter is that what really happens in most of our lives is we invest the 10,000 hours. And that's when we feel like we're at the starting point, where we feel like now I've got the education, the degree, the certificate, the testimonials, the whatever underneath of my belt that I believe is true, so that now I see me this way. And now I can commit myself to the next 10,000 hours to let the rest of the world see my expertise. That's unfortunately the way that we go. What if you hijacked all 20,000 of those hours and you just committed to clearly, consistently connecting every day? Have a plan so that, and maybe Monday is your production day. Okay, maybe you go, and you don't have to go a half an hour to 45 minutes like I do. They could be 30 seconds. It could be 2 to 3 minutes. I do this long form content so that then myself and my team, can break it down into a whole bunch of shorts. We had talked about, and I believe it was yesterday or the day before, we had talked about how I had the idea and I said it to you live and I did it. That I was off. Like I said, I think it was Friday, whatever. My energy was really low. And I was like, I really rambled a lot and that kind of thing. And so, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that into a couple of different AI programs and see, was there any nuggets of gold that were in some of that, what felt to me like random ramblings. What I found in doing that yesterday, as I was doing what I committed to I was going to do, there was actually some really good nuggets in there. I think it came out with about 8 videos. 5 I know positively that I ended up posting. And then I went and I posted all of them. I posted them, on my YouTube channel that has all my shorts and my reels on it. I posted them on Instagram. I posted them on TikTok. And my Instagram shares them to, to my Facebook in most cases. I need to check that because I don't know if, since I did it on the computer, if it did or not. But, even on the days when we're just totally rambling, we're actually making a whole lot of sense. So if you could skip ahead, mentally and just be like, I am the expert. I believe it. I put in my 10,000 hours for me to believe it. I've done it. I've already done my 10,000 hours to be the expert because you've spent more than 10,000 hours being you. You are absolutely a honed, beyond doctorate level expert at you and the things that you're passionate and purposeful for. Sure, you and I need to get together and we need to talk about the clarity on that, the why that goes beneath those things that you passionately can rant about. And that's where, joining our free group, visibilityamplifier.com, can be very powerful for you and can be a great stepping stone to then working with me. We've got some cool things that we're bringing out. I mean, let me ask you this: if you happen to be noticing and listening on the replay, what if I told you that you could have a system in place? You could be a published best-selling author with a system in place for using that best-selling book to truly magnetize media. Next 12 weeks. In other words, and really it's the next 6 months. Okay. What if you could do that? Would you be willing to commit 12 weeks? Would you be willing to commit 24 weeks to that kind of a process? So that you not only are just spending the 12 weeks getting the book done, or the 30 days if you're doing my Done For You program, either way, but you're also putting in an additional 12 weeks to really be doing the steps that you could do for the marketing. Now, I had intended to pitch you, and we've talked about how not great at pitching I am, but it all starts by going to visibilityamplifier.com and just really jumping in. And it starts by you showing up. Yes, even on the days when your energy level is low. It starts by intentionally wanting to connect and then creating a system in your life so that you can do that consistently. Intentionality of connection, consistency of how you do that connection, so that you begin to move in the direction of that clarity and then choose to work with somebody like me that can really help you get clear on those whys beneath the what that you're already going to say. If I find the right thing, I can trigger you and I can get you to go for anywhere from 5 minutes to 5 hours easily on a subject. I mean, it might be something political, it might be something spiritual, it might be something business related, but there are those things that you're just passionate about. Now we need to dig down deeper to why is that? And then we need to put in place the systems so that on the days when you're down, you're sad, lonely, depressed, sick, all of the real life kind of things that do happen to all of us, then you can already have in place. Like I said, maybe Mondays is your production day, and maybe you do all the videos. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were actually talking about doing all of their videos, doing 30 videos in one day. They said, I can totally do that. They're intending to do like 2 to 3 minute videos. Said, I can sit down in front of my laptop or with my phone, and I can boom, 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 pop out 30 of those. And that doesn't hijack my life like trying to intentionally be on live. I said to them, perfect, do it, go for it. You see, that's that clarity of how to be consistent. You want to show up every day. You know that in the month of September, there's 30 days. So you know that across those 30 days, you want to do boom, 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 boom. You slate it out. You sit down, you record it all 30 of them in one day. Or, hey, that's a little overwhelming. Doing 30 at once is too much. I can't commit that kind of time. So you sit down and you do a week's worth of it. I mean, for me, doing this is better, and it's a great way of me showing, not telling you, how to be clear, consistent, and connect with you. That's why I do it every day. That's why I'm committed to it. That's why even when I'm on a train, Even when I'm in, Grand Central Station in Chicago, or I'm sorry, Union Station in Chicago. Grand Central Station is New York. Um, you know, I go live and I come out and I encourage you. And yeah, some of those videos were, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes versus being 30 or 45 minutes. I come to you from my hotel room. I actually literally at the event, every single one of those days, lunch hit perfectly where, I ate lunch and then I came up to my room and within 10 or 15 minutes, 20 at the most, I think the one, because I had a bunch of people who were asking me a ton of questions and I made the mistake of answering the questions first rather than doing the live and then answering the questions. And boom, I was out. And I did it right there from the room. And you got to see my hotel room. Pretty nice hotel. It was really cool. Whatever system works for you, the power is in the showing up because somebody's waiting on you. You're waiting on you. Others are waiting on you. And then by having that system in place, that overcomes those days when it's difficult to show up. Because when we show up, our voice does something magical. It allows our ears, first of all, to hear it, but it also reaches the people it's supposed to reach. And they may come on to your live for 30 seconds. And they may even be like, oh, I don't need to listen to that. But something you said in that 30 seconds is probably exactly what they needed to hear. And it'll ring around through their head. And maybe 2 to 5 years later, and they'll find it popping out of their mouth. And they probably won't give you credit for it. And they probably won't even remember that it was you, but it'll lock down in them. Because our clarity, our consistency, and our connection have a magical thing that comes together that allows us to remove ourselves from the things that we can't control. And that's how many people listen, who listens, what impact it makes. We put it out there and we let it then do what it can do. Control what you can, but don't worry about what you can't control is hugely powerful in your life. And by having that system in place, on the days when it's difficult, you already have a plan in place. I would encourage you, because eventually you're going to get sick, have a couple of backups so that you don't have to come on camera and be like, I'm really sick, but I just wanted to encourage you that you're amazing. I know that made me look more like I was drunk than sick, but whatever. Maybe you're really hungover, okay? Plan in place. Show up because it's so powerful. It makes a difference when you show up daily to the people that need you, especially you, but also the others. Your pace, your words, your style, your clarity, and the ongoing developed clarity. You'll get more and more clear. More people will find you. And what you'll find is that this consistency journey makes the difference in your life. So do come join us at Visibility Amplifier Community. If you go to visibilityamplifier.com, let's walk this consistency journey together. One step, one live, one moment, one day, one great live, one, oh man, that was really off live, together, encouraging and supporting each other. Because clarity doesn't come from thinking about it. It comes from showing up. I'm so glad I get a chance to be with you every day. I hope that helped you some. I hope you will join us again tomorrow when we're going to talk about how consistency builds confidence. And until we're together again next time, I hope you have a great week.